Yo, what's going on? And welcome to another episode of the Becoming a Better You podcast. It's your boy, Coach Paul. And in last week's episode, I talked about how I decided I was going to start running the podcast from my gym. I've been using my homie Zune's podcast studio lately. And it's totally worth it. But me and my homie Keith were just talking about this. And it's a little expensive to drop that much cash on it consistently. And so I have this whole space with all this equipment and all this room. So I decided to start running the podcast from here. So I talked about this on last week's podcast that I was bringing in Keith to be my first podcast interview here at the gym with the new setup. So before I just talk all day because I could talk a lot, let me give you guys Keith. What's up, Keith? What's cracking, bro?
It's cracking, bro. First off, thank you, man. Thank you for having me on your podcast. It's a blessing to be down here and reach a new audience, man. So my name's Keith Tankersley. I'm the owner of Tankersley Fit. We started about a year and a half ago, almost exactly on my sobriety date. I decided to go online and show the world what's possible through fitness, nutrition and sobriety and God, most all, man. So that's what I'm here to represent. That's what I'm here to do, man. It's a blessing to be able to collab with another dude, man.
Hell yeah. I love it. And one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to bring Keith on the podcast is because this podcast is all about becoming a better you. It's about how people are striving to become better versions of themselves. And I was connected to him from my boy Justin from Breaking Impossibilities and Zune. We all know Zune. I talk about him all the time. He's going to be on a podcast as well very soon. I'll be dropping that episode with him. But they're telling me about Keith, and they're like, man, you got to connect with him. He's a great human being. He's got a great story. You're just on Justin's podcast recently, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And so one of the things that we really talked about, first off, we went and got a great lift in this morning. And while we were lifting and creating content, we talked about sobriety and recovery and, and alcohol addiction, drug addiction, all these things that really bring a lot of people down to their knees. So can you kind of dive into that and kind of maybe talk about your experience, talk about where that took you and how, fitness is saving your life right now?
Yeah. Alcohol was my problem. We all have a drug of choice. My drug of choice is obviously more, but alcohol seemed to be the catalyst to what really took me down. I've told this story a few times before, but I started drinking when I was about 12 years old. The first time that I had a drink, I knew it was for me. I knew I found my best friend. I knew it was going to be a part of my life for the foreseeable future. That being said, I come from a long line of alcoholic people. My dad was an alcoholic. His dad was, and it's created a real insane environment for each one of them, passed on down through the generations. So my dad's been preaching to me since I was a kid that this would definitely cause a problem in my life, knowing just by my personality what my direction was going to be, even at a young age. Isn't that crazy, man? Anyways, I always thought he was full of shit. First time I had a drink and actually got a buzz, then I knew it was on from there. So long story short, man, I kind of had the runabout to do whatever I wanted. My parents divorced when I was 13 years old. I used each parent against each other to get the freedom that I wanted to do. And so I was off and running, able to drink and use and hang out and party and do whatever I wanted for the longest time. And throughout my life, like my dad always warned me, it began to progress. They say alcohol is a disease that progresses. And it's funny I say that too, because even though if you were to stop drinking today and pick it up 3 years down the line, your alcoholism would have progressed, even though you weren't practicing. Just a quick little fact about alcohol. Anyways, so I started drinking real hard all the way up until I was 40 years old when I finally had enough, man. But throughout these years, it's really caused me a lot of problems relationship-wise. It's caused me jail time, just complete insanity, man. It completed baffling insanity that I never really understood, man. And I never understood. It was always fear that stopped me from drinking. It was fear that I wouldn't enjoy my life afterwards, and that there wasn't a life to be lived after alcohol, man. And that's one of the things that keeps everybody stuck, because they can't imagine their life any other way, because that's all they've ever fucking known, That's part of the insanity that the program teaches you. Because I was in the AA program for a long time. I was court ordered at first, and I began to like it because there's a lot of people in there that are offering a lot of deep knowledge about a lot of things and life in general. This is part of growing up. That's what it really is. It's part of becoming a real man and facing the shit that really plagues your life and your existence. A lot of people think they're tough. We talked about this on Justin's podcast, but they've never actually tried to quit what they're most in love with in their life.
Wow.
You know? And that's really the determining factor of what kind of man you really are, because the thing that you love the most in your life, you're indefinitely probably going to have to quit.
Yeah.
Because it's going to cause a problem in your life. If you love women too much, if you love womanizing, if you love alcohol, if you love drugs, if you love, just dysfunctional practice of any sort, you will have to quit that shit in order to get to the next level. So,
wow, that's deep. That's deep, and that's my story is very similar, bro. My parents split up when I was like 12 as well, 11 or 12, and it's progressive. You are 100% true. The few times in the past that I've gotten sober or clean, whatever word you want to use, doesn't really matter to me. Every time I've gone back to using, I just got worse immediately. It was not like I didn't pick up where I left off. I picked up worse than where I left off.
Fucking crazy, huh?
Right. And it just was progressive. And not just that, but the consequences are progressive as well.
Yes.
The first time I got arrested, I was 15 years old and I did like a week in juvenile hall. Second time was 6 months in juvenile hall. Then it was like a week in like a 90-day boys home in juvenile hall, and then boys home, and then back to juvenile hall. And it like extended more and more. And even as an adult, from 6 months in the county to a year in the county to 3 years in prison to 10 years in prison. Like it just progressively got worse, Yeah. And we're both fitness coaches, right? And I just want to point this out. I've heard people be like, well, why do you always bring fitness coaches on your podcast? Or why do you collab with other fitness coaches? Man, I say this all the time. I truly believe that collaboration is at the top and competition is at the bottom, And so my story might not resonate with everyone that listens to this podcast or watches my social media. My message, my mission might not resonate. I still give tons of value, but I might not be the person for you. So if I can connect you with a coach that is the person for you, maybe Keith's got something that you feel you need from him that you can't get from me. Like it'd be selfish of me to gatekeep other coaches and other fitness people that I know that could bring value, because my goal is to help as many people as possible. And I know that's Keith's goal as well, because we were talking about that earlier, And so tell us like kind of what brought you to getting sober? Like what was it, that pivotal moment where you're like, fuck, I need to stop this because this is not working?
Well, man, I've had it's funny you were talking about the warning signs and the consequences just keep getting worse, man. And it was crazy. I remember coming off a sick blackout, even in my early 20s. I think I was like 21 years old, and I was sitting in my room. And I swear God was talking to me, and he said, you continue on this lifestyle, you're going to end up in a place that you don't want to be. And you're going to end up, the consequences, like you said, just kept getting worse and worse and worse for me. But the final pivotal moment was losing my kids. I got kicked out of my own house that I own, got a restraining order from my wife, from my own kids. Even though there was nothing violent towards them. It's just, she was sick of my shit,
Yeah.
And the way the law works, maybe it's not fair, maybe it is, but it is what it is. It was the wake up call that I needed. That was the final, even though there's a lot of things in my life that happened that were much, much worse, probably you guys would think. But to me, that's what hit me the hardest. That was the wake up call for me, because I couldn't imagine my life without my kids, man. So I knew I had to change my life there. And I was also getting a calling for the last 10 years that I needed to get sober and to come out online. And I felt like a fraudulent motherfucker coming out online. I couldn't do it until I was sober. I couldn't do it.
That makes sense.
I couldn't go out here and preach something that I'm not actually living myself, man. So that was just another reason, that was just another reason right there to do it. So that's
Love it. And so when did you get sober again? And we talked about this earlier.
August 12th, 2023.
Yes.
Is when I had my last drink. I had my last drink at a little bar, or at a little restaurant, a barbecue restaurant. And I just got out of jail probably 2 weeks prior. And then I was staying with a homeboy of mine that just wrecked his Harley drunk. So he had a broken leg and he was trying to get sober. And I was fucking just got out of jail, paying the bills on my other house and paying him at the same time to have a place to live, and then so it was just a perfect storm for me to take a look at myself and be accountable for who I am, Anyway, so yeah, I was sitting down with my homeboy and I was like, this is gonna be my last beer right here. And he was laughing at me because I've been saying that shit forever,
Right.
I've been talking that shit forever. I said, no, this is gonna be my last beer. And it was, man. That was my last drink right there.
Hell yeah, brother. I'm proud of you.
Yeah, proud of you. What about you, man? tell me a little bit about the day you got sober, bro.
Oh man, so in August. So quick backstory, in California, when you get incarcerated, you do a percentage of your time as long as you behave yourself, right? And so I was sentenced to 10 years at 85%, which means I should have done 8.5 years. I spent 6 months in the county jail fighting my case, so that was dead time. So really, the 6 months in the county and then into prison for 8.5 would have left me at 9 years getting out of prison. So August 4th, 2017, I was supposed to get out. But because of my behavior while incarcerated, I was in multiple fights. I've gotten caught with drugs, got caught with cell phone paraphernalia, different other things that I was involved in there. Like, I had extended my prison sentence to max it out, meaning I was going to do over 10 years. It was me 10.5 years I was going to end up doing, because I had the 6 months in the county and then the full 10 years. I had extended my time. I had lost my good time, and I was just going to do all of my 10 years and the 6 months in the county. So August 4th, 2017 came. It was my release date. I was not getting out. I was frustrated. I was angry. I was still hooked on drugs. In fact, I was hooked on heroin, which is a drug that I've never done on the streets. I've only done heroin in prison.
Yeah, a lot of people think you can't do drugs in prison, Doc.
Bro, I saw more drugs in prison than I saw on the streets at one point, man. So I got hooked on heroin in prison. And so I was like using at the in August, I was using, and I ran out. I was in trouble with my homies. They were tired of my shit. I was probably pretty close to getting stabbed or murdered by them because I didn't know how to behave myself. And I ran out of drugs. I was dope sick, and I kind of just went through the dope sickness. It took me 3 or 4 days to kick, 3 or 4 days of sleeping and resting and sweating it out and getting it out of my system. And then, August 30th, I woke up and I was like a new person. And I looked myself in the mirror, and I seen the raccoon eyes, and I seen how skinny I was. I had long hair. I looked like a scarecrow. And I was just like, bro, scratched metal mirror in the bathroom. And I just saw myself, and I was like, bro, this ain't for you. This is not what you're built for. It's not what you're made for. You're worth more than this. And August 30th, 2017, I call that my release date, or my clean date, because I don't really remember the few days leading up to it while I was dope sick and kicking. It was a bit of a fog. There was a lot of sleeping, a lot of sweating, a lot of being sick and wanting to die. My skin was crawling. August 30th is when I was like, I'm making a change. It's when I made a conscious decision never to use again. And I've been clean ever since. So I'm coming up on 8 years next month, man. And it's been a blessing, bro.
Yeah, people don't talk enough about that pain, that internal pain that you said when you look up and look at yourself looking like a raccoon, man. My wife, she used to yell at me for being a drunk, for being a piece of shit, whatever you want to call it. And I used to tell her, man, there's nothing you could say that is more derogatory than how I'm talking to myself right now.
For sure.
There is nothing you could say to me to make me feel worse than I already feel about myself. So I wake up in the morning and just tell her, just don't even say nothing, because it's not, there's nothing you could say any worse than I'm already saying, It's a terrible place to be. That's actually the biggest motivator besides losing my kids that made me quit, man, because it's just, you can't talk to yourself like that in life and actually go anywhere. It's just impossible. If you're talking down to yourself all the time, you won't elevate. You won't elevate. It destroys your confidence, destroys how you perceive the world as a whole. You become what you see every day, in this world. And you see the world as you live.
Yeah.
So if you're continually being fit and working out and having good conversations and engaging with positive people all the time that have a good outlook on life, that's exactly what kind of life you're going to live. That's the truth of it,
Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit more about that, because man, you have a beautiful family. You're sober now. You've got a full-time career that seems to be doing pretty well for you. What made you want to become a fitness coach and an online coach and start supporting people in their fitness journeys?
Because like I've said before, you got to give this shit away to keep it. That's the rule of sobriety, man. You have to give it away to keep it. And I thought, instead of being inside those AA meetings all the time, which there's nothing wrong with them, they're great, I could talk to a much broader audience and help a lot more people out and make a living in the process if I come out online. So that's exactly what I've chosen to do. And fitness has always been a huge passion of mine. When I look at any man, if he has the option to be fit and in shape and be the best version of himself, if he's not currently doing that, I can't fully respect him.
Mm.
I can't, man. I mean, I might respect certain areas of your life that you've excelled in greatly, but why would you not take the time out of your day to build a better you as far as fitness, health? Because I mean, let's be honest, once you lose that, that's the only problem you have, right? You've heard it from multiple people.
For sure. And you know, they say it all the time, you know, like your body, what people see when you walk into the room is a clear example of your level of discipline, and not just in your fitness, but in everything.
Yeah, you can't lie to someone, man.
You can't.
If you roll up looking like shit's telling a good story. We know different, bro.
Absolutely. You know, and it's unfortunate because I get it a lot. I get people that come and reach out to me about fitness coaching all the time, and they're like, I eat pretty healthy. Yeah. No, you fucking don't. Yeah. Like, you can't fake that. You can't tell someone you eat healthy and you're overweight. It's not possible to eat healthy and be overweight. They don't coincide.
No.
You know, and so like, you know, it's very important to take care of it, especially as a parent, you know? And I've hammered this so many times, but man, if you cannot physically take care of your kids, if you cannot physically keep your kids safe from an emergency, from an attacker, from anything in life, like, fuck, what are you doing with your life?
Plus, they follow the example. They will directly follow your example, whether you tell them to or not. You know, they do as you do.
For sure.
You know?
For sure. You know, and you know, I ask parents this all the time. Like, are you happy being overweight? And most people are not happy with being overweight. There's some random people, I don't get it, but they're like, I'm fine with being overweight.
They're lying.
I think they're lying, but that's on them, right? But if you're not happy being overweight, why would you force these habits on your kids to create unhappiness for them as well? That don't make sense to me. Like, you're supposed to be taking care of these young human beings, then you should be setting that example for them. And I'm not saying once in a blue moon sliding into McDonald's to get them a cheeseburger and some fries is a bad thing because they're kids. But if your kid is 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds overweight, that is because of you. And I said this on my Facebook and so many people attacked me for this. I believe teaching your kids those unhealthy habits is child abuse. It is child abuse because you're teaching your kids habits that are going to destroy their mental and their physical health. And if you're doing that, that's as bad as giving your kids drugs. Shit, more people die from fast food than they die from drugs nowadays. Like, you wouldn't walk up to your kid and be like, oh, you know, it's cool if you snort some heroin. Then why you walk up to your kid and be like, it's cool if you know, eat 2,000 to 3,000 calories worth of junk food in one sitting just because? Like, that don't even make sense to me.
Oh, it comes down to this. It's their vice that that the society has chosen to call, you know, not a problem. They've actually began to glorify it like it's not a vice. It is a vice. It's just your vice, you know. Some people don't have that vice of overeating and fucking eating garbage all the time, but certain people, that is your vice, and you've chosen not to look at it as one, so you can continue to live your lifestyle that you're living without being called out. And it's bullshit. It's really just bullshit. That's like me being a drunk and not saying I'm a fucking drunk, because it's just, you know, truth is truth, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so you're sober now. You're online coaching. How many clients you said you have now?
I got 10 clients right now.
Nice.
10 clients right now.
I love it. 10 clients and growing. Cool. And so, like, what, you know, I know, like, we're kind of talking about how you train people. What does your training method look like?
So I started training like I was taught, man. I was shout out to Strong Mind, Strong Body. Mr. He's a beast. He taught me how to train. He's a pro bodybuilder out of Stockton, California. Him and his wife taught me how to train. I train almost like CrossFit. We do weightlifting. So we usually do about 13 different exercises. Say we're doing chest, we'll do flat bench chest, incline, dumbbell, fly, all in a row, and we'll throw abs in it every day. It's usually 4 or 5 days of abs, but it's usually 5 sets, 13 exercises, nonstop. So we knock out a workout in about 45 to an hour, and we're usually dripping in sweat by the end of the workout, man. So that's where I learned how to train. Not too many people that train like that, but it's been a hell of a thing for me, man. I love it. So that's how I train my clients. I've learned to train them like that with intensity. I love intensity. That's who I am. Sometimes it's a lot for people, but I love it.
Yeah. And I mean, realistically, sometimes we got to challenge people and push them. It's honestly
Yeah.
our jobs as coaches to push you. Like I tell people all the time, I'm not here to be your friend. We might develop a friendship in the long run, possibly. I don't want to be your friend. I want to save your life. Like, I'm going to tell you when your eating habits are bullshit. I'm going to tell you when you need to go to the gym more often, add more steps, when you're lying to me. Like, I know you're lying to me. Your scale's not moving. What do you mean? You're following the plan. Like, no, you're not. Stop lying to me because you're lying to yourself as well. But the reality of it is, like, we all need that push.
Yeah.
We all need that push, you know? And if you're listening to this podcast right now and anything that Keith is saying is resonating with you, make sure you go give him a follow. His podcast, his Instagram will be in the show notes of the podcast. So make sure you give him a follow. Reach out to him if you have any questions about his coaching program. He's online, right? So a lot of people think that online coaching is like, oh, we're going to go on a Zoom call and you're going to watch me while I work out at the gym. Can you explain to the audience, I've done it plenty of times myself, but can you explain to the audience what your online program looks like so they have a general idea like what it would look like working with you?
Yeah, so my online program consists of, I build you a full plan workout on an app, and it's in live time. I can see exactly what you're doing in live time. I design your meal plan, and you input all your meals. I can see all your meals that you input. I give you exact daily allowances that I want you to hit. I also do one-on-one coaching for people that are in the area at the time. And then for those that aren't, I do Zoom calls with them, the check-ins. We talk about problems that they're currently having, issues with the workout, issues with the food, accountability, and so forth. We check all the boxes. If there's anything any area of your life where you fall short in, I will do my best to follow up on that. And a big thing that I push in my program is sobriety and accountability. We try to clean all the vices off the mat, man, because it's very hard to keep yourself accountable all the time when you're busy, vice-ridden by different things, you know? If you're drinking all the time, if you're using all the time, that's what a lot of these people come to me for, to be honest with you, man, is they have problems in their life. With different things, drinking and drug use and problems at home because they don't know how to act right, you know, dysfunctional behavior. So that's what I use fitness and nutrition as part of my fitness program too. God damn.
Absolutely. I mean, and I get it, man, because like realistically, you know, most people think it's the fitness or the nutrition that they need help with, right? At first. And they need support with that, of course, but let's be real. Anyone can chat GPT a workout and a nutrition plan. If you're watching this on the podcast, listening to this on the podcast, watching this on YouTube, Instagram, wherever, just chat GPT a workout, chat GPT a fitness plan, a nutrition plan. Go for it. But you ain't gonna do it. That's the reality of it. It's all free out there. You ain't gonna do it. And the reason why most people won't do it is because they need human connection. They need support. And there's real deeper things that they're struggling with. You know, I work with almost 99% of the people that I work with are struggling with something that's not just working out. They hire me because they want to lose some weight or they want to get stronger or build some muscle or do a marathon, whatever the hell they want. I know I got a fighter that I work with. Shout out to you, Vern. Comes for the UFC. But realistically, most people come to me because they're like, you know, they're broken. And that's why I talk about my story. That's why we have this podcast. That's why I bring guests on that are broken. Like, you ain't gonna see no guest on my story that's like, oh yeah, so I was born in Beverly Hills with $1 million in my bank account right when I started life. Like, nah, I didn't fuck with those type of people, right? Because I need broken human beings that have rebuilt themselves, because rebuilding yourself is how you can help others do the same. And if you've done it yourself, if you've proven the concept with yourself, you can do it for others as well. So this morning we hit the gym, fucking got a great workout in with you, man. Got some great content in. That was good. We definitely created some content. Make sure you check out both our pages for the current and upcoming content. Do you have any other value that you want to share with the audience, that you want to leave with the audience, man?
Yeah, fitness coaches, we're here to keep you in check. That's what the truth about it is, you know. It's kind of like you get sponsored when you go into an AA program, somebody who's been there, somebody who's done that, somebody who to call you on your bullshit. And that's what I do with my coaching program. I'm here to call you on your bullshit when you're telling me that you're doing a certain workout or you're eating the food. And I know you're not. when you tell me that you're acting a certain way when I know you're not. You know, we're here to call you on your. We're a sponsor, is what we are. A mentor, sponsor, teacher, all the above. So that's what I base my workout programs on, man. I hold my clients accountable in all ways, bro. That's what it's all about. Anything that I could say or do that will show you on my content that'll help somebody out. If you got any questions about it, hit me up, man. Let's talk about it, you know?
Absolutely. And I can tell you from experience, he will respond to your DMs. So DM him, ask him questions, go show his page some love, go follow his page. Like I said, it's was it
Tankersley _fit.
Yeah, Tankersley _fit. And it'll be in the show notes as well. So, you know, if you didn't remember that, or you're driving down the street listening to the podcast, you didn't take notes real quick. Don't take notes while you're driving and drive off a cliff. All right. It'll definitely be in the show notes for you. And I'll definitely be sharing more of his content on my social media to make sure to support what he's doing, because the goal is to impact hundreds of thousands of lives. That's what this podcast is for. That's what my social accounts are for. That's for what my networking is for, right? Just to create more value in the world, man. So Keith, I appreciate you coming on the show.
Appreciate you, bro.
And you know, as always, you know, his information will be in the show notes. If you like this episode, go give him a follow. Share this episode with a friend. The only way we can grow is by sharing these episodes and sharing the value with other people. And make sure you hit us both up either way in the DMs with any questions you might have. If you could really do me a big favor, drop a 5-star review. Let us know how you enjoy the podcast. If there's things we should change, don't do that on the review. Just send me a DM. Let me know. I'm open ears. You know, I'm open to make changes if we need to, because my goal is just to impact more lives and make a big difference in the world. So thank you for joining today's episode, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the Becoming a Better You podcast. Peace, love, and protein.
I got stuck a little bit. Sorry, man.
You good? Don't be sorry.